The Parabolic SAR indicator can find massive moves and make lots of money, but only if you know how it works and how to use it correctly. So in this video, you will learn everything you need to know about this powerful indicator, from, what is the Parabolic SAR and how does it work, to a Parabolic SAR trading strategy. And I will even show you guys how you can change the settings to potentially level up this indicator even further. But right, so before we can start trading with the Parabolic SAR, we of course first of all need to know what is the Parabolic SAR in the first place. And well, SAR here, or SAR, simply stands for stop and reverse. And this right here is a powerful indicator that can help you identify trend direction and potential reversals. And this indicator right here is, as I said, a trend following indicator developed by Wells Wilder. And if this name sounds familiar to you guys, it probably is, because this is the same trader who created, for example, the RSI and the ADX. And we actually already have made videos on the RSI and the ADX on our YouTube channel. But now, what does the SAR do? Well, the SAR indicator plots dots above and below the price to show trend direction. So when the dots are below the price, we are in an uptrend according to the indicator, and when dots are above the price, we are in a downtrend. So let's just very quickly jump into TradingView. By the way, guys, if you don't have TradingView yet, this is the platform I use for all my analysis, both technical and fundamental. I actually do have a special link, and I will make sure to drop that link down in the comments and description. But what I want to show you guys right here is, as you can see, when the dots are below the price, we are in an uptrend. When the dots are above the price, we are in a downtrend. And you can see that the indicator also can catch pullbacks, like for example right here. You can see, you can think about this as a small sort of uptrend or a small movement against the overall trend of the market. And the Parabolic SAR can basically catch both these larger moves, but they can also catch pullbacks. And here, the dots of the indicator will flip sides when we see a trend reversal, or to be more precise, when a trend reversal may be starting. And as I showed you guys recently on TradingView, I like this indicator because it's very clear and easy to interpret. And when is this indicator best used? Well, it's best used in trending markets. So you want actually to avoid to use this one in sideways markets. But it works best when we have a clear direction, because when we have sideways markets, you will realize that the indicator will flip pretty often and provide more false signals. But we will later on in this video, when we take a look at settings, take a look at some ways how to reduce these false signals. But alright, so now let's actually take a quick look at how does the Parabolic SAR work. Well, the dots you saw in TradingView are calculated based on price and a built-in formula known as the acceleration formula. And this is a formula that will adapt to the momentum of the market. And in an uptrend, the dots will trail below the price and then gradually move up. So it basically acts as dynamic support levels. Dynamic support levels simply mean that the levels where the support are will change over time. The normal support and resistance levels are often straight lines on the chart, or zones, while dynamic support is a support level that basically follows the price. So it can act in an uptrend as dynamic support, and in a downtrend, it can act as dynamic resistance level. And here, once the price touches a dot, this is when the dot flip happens to the other side. And this is the potential signal that the price will reverse or might reverse. And another important function about the SAR indicator is that SAR becomes tighter over time, which can actually help locking in profits and reducing the risk exposure. But right, so now let's take a look at how to use the Parabolic SAR in trading. And the first use case here is as entry and exit signals. And as I mentioned, this indicator is very simple. What you want to look out for is that you want to look out for buys when the dots flip below the price and when the market shows an uptrend. You want to look out for sell, or you want to look out for going short when the dots flip above the price and the market shows a downtrend. And this is a very important first step in the trading strategy. But what you also want to do, and this I highly recommend for pretty much all indicators, is that you want to confirm with price action. So you can use things like candlestick patterns. You can also use things like static support and resistance. This is, in my opinion, a little bit more on the market structure side. But you can debate whether this is price action or market structure. But nonetheless, you do want to use both price action and market structure combined with the parabolic SAR. But don't worry, guys, I actually do have a full course on price action trading, and I will make sure to link that course somewhere up in the corner, and I highly recommend to check that one out after you're done with this video. But here, optional is to also wait for confirmation candles. So some traders wait for one candle, some traders wait for two candles, but basically many traders don't go with the first flip. They wait for 1 to 2 more dots. And here, yet another very common use case is to use the parabolic SAR as a trailing stop loss. And what is a trailing stop loss? Well, it's basically when your stop loss, as I said, is not a static horizontal level, but it rather follow the price. And if you want to learn more about stop losses and risk management in general, I do have a video about that, and I will make sure to link the video both in the video card and the description. But here, in uptrends, the trail stop will be below the latest SAR dot. In downtrends, you set the trail stop above the latest SAR dot. So this is how you can use it as a trailing stop loss. And it basically auto adjusts with the trend and exit on reversal. So this is a way to potentially maximize profits while minimizing losses. And here, and this is very important, in order to make money with the parabolic SAR, I highly recommend to combine it with other technical analysis tools and concepts. One concept I have already recommended is price action, and as I said, make sure to watch my full course on price action, but you also want to combine it with market structure. And luckily, I do have a full market structure course as well. So make sure to check that course out if you have the time. And don't worry, these are long videos. I realize that, it might take, days or even weeks to go through them, but both price action and market structure is a must. You can also combine it with other things like moving averages. I'm not the biggest fan of just moving averages in general, but many traders use them successfully. So definitely consider moving averages. However, here, RSI and stochastic are two indicators I find very valuable, and I do have trading courses on both of them. So I will make sure to link both of these courses up in the corner as well. But right, so now let's actually switch the attention and jump back here into TradingView. Right now, I'm looking at a daily time frame on the Nasdaq 100, but you can use the parabolic SAR on pretty much all time frames and asset classes. So you can use it on crypto, forex, or stocks. And now to access the parabolic SAR, you want to navigate up here to the indicators tab in TradingView, and I think it's enough to just type SAR right here, or SAR. And luckily, I do think this indicator is available for the TradingView free plan, but we do have multiple community-based indicators as well. And I don't think, definitely not all of these are available for free. But if you guys want to get TradingView Premium for free for 30 days. I do actually have a special TradingView link that you can check out. It will be in the description and the top comment of this video. But now let's open up the indicator, and you do want to choose this one, just simply called Parabolic SAR right here. And as you can see, when you first open up this indicator, I'm not even sure if you guys can see the indicator right here, and that is because the dots are so small. So I actually right away want to go up here and change a few just style settings right here. So what I like to do is to actually change the crosses here to circles. I just like circles a bit more. You can definitely feel free to use whatever you want. You can even use things like, you know, lines if you prefer that. But I think that circles is perfect, and I'm gonna make them a bit bigger. I'm actually gonna make them super big so you guys can see clearly. And now we are ready to press OK here. So what you can first hopefully notice here is that the Parabolic SAR catches many of the important moves. For example, you can see that after, if you remember this massive candle the stock market saw when Nasdaq traded up around 12%. This was the very absolute lowest point of this recent stock market crash, and you can actually see that the Parabolic SAR flipped on this day. You can see the dot went from above here to below. And you can also see that the Parabolic SAR catched many of the pullbacks, for example, the pullback right here and the next move and so on and so on. So you might wonder, isn't it just enough to, you know, buy when it flips right here and, you know, sell, for example, when it flips right here? And that is the basics of the Parabolic SAR. But as I said, I highly recommend to not use the Parabolic SAR like this because it will give many false signals. Oops. You can, for example, see if we scroll a bit left here, as I talked about earlier in the course, when we have this kind of sideways markets, you can see that we will get many signals, but many of these will either be, you know, not that good, or they will simply be false, and you will lose money if you use these signals alone. So what I highly recommend is to combine it with price action. I once again refer back to my full price action course. You guys should really check that one out. But when I talk about price action, I talk about things like, for example, candlestick patterns. So for example, right here, we got the bullish signal that we are in a potential uptrend. We saw this impulsive move upright with this candle. Then the price turned, pulled back a bit. So we got a pullback towards getting closer to the dots. But what you then can see is that right here, we actually printed a candlestick pattern. This right here is known as a BE, or bullish engulfing pattern. And combining the indicator with other price action signals, like for example, bullish engulfing patterns, but you have many more concepts as well, is definitely, at least in my opinion, a better strategy than blindly using this indicator. So this right here could have been an entry point. Another thing, you might want to ask yourself, you know, could we have used this indicator in perhaps the crash as well? And I would say definitely yes. But once again, you want to combine it with price action and preferably also market structure. Because as you can see right here, if you look closely, you can see that the price, we had this impulsive move down, right? Strong impulsive move down. Then we saw this pullback before the next impulsive move. And yes, the Parabolic SAR with this dot right here caught this breakout beautifully. So it caught the downwards move. But I don't think this is a good signal unless we have the market structure supporting the move. And in this case, you can actually see that we had a bear flag, right? A bear flag is when we have an impulsive move, the price goes up right here, and then it breaks out. You can also see that right here, we actually had the opposite of this signal. This right here is a bearish engulfing pattern. So you had two potential entry points. You could either had looked out for this candle close of the bearish engulfing, or you could have looked out for the let me delete some stuff because it got a bit messy, or you can look out for the breakout of the actual bearish bear flag. So once again, I want to emphasize that using this indicator alone can be helpful, but combining it with price action and market structure is often the way to go. But alright, so now let's actually take a look at how we can change the settings to potentially improve the indicator. And to change the settings, we do want to go up here to where it says settings, and then we want to navigate to the inputs tab. And here we have three important settings. We have the start, we have the increment, and we have the max value. And as for the start, you can think about the start as the initial speed of the Parabolic SAR. So a lower value will give the SAR a slower start, while a higher value will make the SAR react faster already from the beginning. While the increment here is about how the SAR accelerates over time. So this one basically explains how quickly the dots, like for example right here, will move closer to the price. And last but not least, we have the max value, and this is simply the maximum speed of the dots. And I can already mention here that most traders will have the start and increment at the same levels. You can see that the standard setting have 0.02 for both the start and increment. And for most settings, you will actually keep it at this because it makes it makes the indicator simpler to understand. And this is also how Wells Wilder meant the indicator to work. But alright, so let's take a look here at the beginning settings. They are 0.02, 0.02, and 0.2. And in my opinion, for many situations, these settings work pretty good. But if you are looking for faster signals, perhaps you are day trading or scalping and are looking to get in and out of the market much more quickly. For example, as you can see right here, the standard settings can catch these longer term moves as well. But if you're looking for quicker moves, you can actually change the settings. So let's go back here to the setting tab. Using a setting of 0.03 for both the start and the increment here. So 0.03, 0.03, and the max value to 0.3 as well, will make the signals much more tighter. You can, for example, see that if we press OK here, you will get the bands will be much more tighter here. And this can be very good if you want to catch shorter term moves. But what you also will notice, and this is important to mention, is that you will get some false signals. For example, you can see this dot right here. You can see here we only got one dot right, and this dot didn't really provide any kind of value. It just produced noise and could lead to losses. So when it comes to these faster settings, it is definitely a trade-off between how fast is the indicator and how reliable are the signals. But now let's go back here to the settings, because I do want to show you guys one more setting here, and that is to actually change the start to 0.01, the increment to 0.01. Remember, we tend to have this one the same. And let's also change the max value to 0.1. These settings are much more suitable for longer term trading. Maybe you are swing trading, maybe you are even investing, or you might even be trading on the short term time frames, but still looking for trades that span over multiple candles. Then you can use this type of setting. So when we click OK now, you will see that the indicator will be much more smoother. And even in environments that are, ranging, you can see that we will reduce the amount of false signals. However, there are often no free lunches when it comes to indicator, because yes, these signals can be more reliable, but at the same time, they will often come very late. For example, you can see this signal right here came in much later, and that is of course, a bad thing. So it is a trade-off. But alright guys, so in order to use the Parabolic SAR effectively, you have to learn about price action. So when you have the time, I really recommend to check out this full price action trading course next.